Everyone, my name is Katrina Malaiba, and I'm a travel and lifestyle creator based in Los Angeles. I am married to my college sweetheart, and we have a brand new baby boy. So we are looking to buy our first home in the near future. And as LMU alumni and those really familiar with Silicon Beach, we have lived there for almost a decade now. So that's where we realized that we really want to establish our roots. And so I'm joined today by Meredith, who is a real estate maven, single-handedly taking Silicon Beach by storm. So we're going to be doing a little Q&A to help fellow first-time homebuyers like myself and just educate on common questions that we all have. And so here's Meredith.
Hi everybody. Thanks for having me. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Meredith Schlosser. I'm currently, most importantly, a mother of two. I have a 6-year-old son, Asher, and a 3-year-old daughter, Dylan. My specialty is Silicon Beach. I personally live in Playa Vista and have lived here since 2014. And we're really focusing on first-time buyers and sellers and becoming, hopefully, the one and only go-to agent for all of Silicon Beach.
Woo. Okay, so ready to kick it off with a Q&A?
Let's do it.
Okay, so first common question that I know I have and a lot of other people have is, what does a broker do?
Well, if you're going off of reality TV, let's just cut it there. Let's start. What does an actual broker do? And what do we really get in the nitty gritty? What does a broker do? Most importantly, a broker is there to help facilitate the process of buying and selling. So we're negotiating, most importantly, on behalf of the buyer or seller, identifying the property, figuring out, A, what's wrong with the property, getting you all the closing costs for the property, and figuring out ultimately what is the best fit for you when you are buying or when you are selling. How are we going to go about your goals, meeting your financial goals, and how we can do that? But that's a very short answer, but ultimately we are alongside the entire process, negotiating every step of the way, protecting our clients and making sure they always get the best deal possible.
Gotta love a good deal. So how do you find a good agent, and how does that differ from a broker? Can you be both?
Yeah, so there's real estate agents and then there's real estate brokers. It's really not that different. It's just a matter of a test. And you, in order to be, that's kind of like a long-winded answer, but a real estate agent, which is what I am, I have my license under a brokerage. As far as finding someone, it's kind of like anything in life, right? We all go online, we research everything from where we get our nails done to where we get our hair done to what doctor we're going to, right? So I ultimately tell people, always ask your friends, family for referrals. If you can get a good referral and you feel confident about that person, go with that person. That's the best way. Obviously, online research, always the best for us. A lot of our clients are repeat referral, thank God, and we worked that hard to get there. But as a first-time buyer, someone that's moving into a new area, I always say, go online, do your research, talk to at least a few agents, and most importantly, who gets back to you quickly, who do you connect with, who do you vibe with, and who do you trust? Who is someone that you trust with your money, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you're buying the most expensive asset in your entire life, right? So that's kind of my go-to on just how to find the best fit.
And I'm big on vibe and energy. And from our first conversation, I already felt the good vibes. So I'm really glad that you said that, because I feel like that's really important in any relationship in life.
Totally. Same thing, doctor, lawyer, dentist, like who do you feel comfortable with? Who do you not feel insecure about asking questions to? And that's always my goal, is always making everybody feel comfortable.
Oh, I love that. So in your opinion, is the housing market too high right now? I know that with, what's been going on the last couple of years, there's like, everyone's been waiting for a dip, but it just gets higher and higher. What is your opinion on that?
I think in LA, we're such a unique place, right? 70 and sunny every day of the year. Everybody wants to be here. Do I think it's too high? Do I think it's too hot? It's hot. It's insane. I mean, there's no inventory. We're at an ultimate low. But what I'm looking at as a too high, what is it going to be in 5 years, right? Real estate over time always increases in value if you compare it to the stock market. So it's one of those things. Interest rates are an all-time low. We know they're going higher. So yeah, it is high, but if you compare it to what your affordability is, it all makes sense. So I tell people right now, if you have the ability to buy a home, qualify, have the down payment, you should do it now and not look back. If you and identify a property you like and you can get.
Hmm. That's really interesting. I had mentioned earlier about, just how everyone's feeling in these last couple of years because of the pandemic and, feelings about the housing market being being hot, but, like, should I buy now? Should I wait? And so speaking of that, can you tour houses during this time? Like, what are the COVID protocols? How has it changed between 2020, 2021 and now? What is that looking like for you?
It's been an awesome whirlwind. Just kidding. It's been a lot. We were selling more houses last year over Zoom and FaceTime than
Really?
ever, right? I mean, that was, yeah, it just was what it was. Now everything's calmed down. Obviously, we're taking all the protocols, making sure people are wearing masks, and if sellers require, some people wear gloves, but a lot of people are choosing to do FaceTime or Zoom or just pictures or video, whatever they want. But we have open houses now. We're doing in-person showings. We're able to get people in to physically see, but we still have virtual tours and video and photos, obviously, of all of that. But whatever everybody's comfort level is, and just depends on the buyer and seller. But last year was insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you feel that people like felt the same comfortability and same like experience, even if it was virtual, to be able to feel confident enough to want to buy virtually?
It was a challenge at first. I think that a lot of the people that we did deals with, it was multiple times going in, right, and really slowly identifying and taking different angles, and or maybe they had a family member that lived in the area come and tour the property. But it is what it is. I mean, you have to show people. We drove up and down streets with clients, like literally, like,
Wow.
had them like to know the neighborhood because we had a lot of out of towners coming. So we'd
Mm.
video the neighborhood, the streets, where we are, the backyard, the view, everything. So, but everything we did, not go, was all successful. So
That's great. And what do you project for 2022? Do you feel like there'll be more in person or more virtual, or still a split?
everything we're doing now is in person.
Oh, wow.
Everything,
Okay.
yeah, everything we're doing now is in person. It's all showings, open houses. Everything is back to normal. Obviously, we're not having 100 people in one open house at one time, which we used to, which was fun. But
Mm.
we're limiting, obviously, the amount of groups and people in at one time.
Okay, that's good to know. How long does the entire housing process typically take? Like start to finish, if you're ready and you like have your things, what does that look like?
How long does it take to meet your perfect mate? I'm just kidding. I use a lot of dating analogies, and I think people get sick of me saying it, but
Oh no, I bring them on.
it is like dating, right? In a way, it's figuring out A, what you want,
Mhm.
B, what's realistic, and C, what are your expectations? So we have
Yeah, I feel
clients.
like that's actually a good analogy though. And like
Yeah,
I feel like it's easy for people to understand in that way.
totally. It's real life. Everybody has a wish list. Oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then you start dating, you're like, wait. Let's just like settle at X, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not getting A, B, and Z. So I think it's what I've experienced when you're buying. You have to look at as much as you can. We have clients that buy houses in a month. We have clients that can't find something for 6 months. It's really hard to give you an actual average. I'd say, 1 to 3 months if you're actively
Hmm.
making offers and you have the Meredith Schlosser team representing you. No, I'm just kidding. Then it's a little bit quicker. Obviously, you need an aggressive agent, but average, I'd say at least 1 to 3, 6 months, maybe a year,
Hmm.
depending on your realistic expectations.
Mhm. And so with that, when you make an offer, this is going to be again first time home buyer question, so excuse it if it's but do you make an offer just on like your top pick, or do you make multiple offers? Like how does that kind of work? Is it common to make multiple offers? Do you do one at a time and wait to see how it goes?
I like to be fair to the seller. So if we, I want someone to treat me how I would like them to be treated. There's obviously buyers out there that go and make offers on 10 properties. You need to disclose that, right, to the seller. But really, right now in the market we're in, especially under 2.5 million in LA, let's say, there's multiple offers on almost everything. So if you're a real buyer and you're actually really serious, I would suggest sticking to that property, going full force, seeing if you get it. You don't, you move on to the next. that's really the right way of doing it.
Okay.
If we have clients that love 3 things, we can make offers, no problem. We're just have to disclose to the seller the buyer is interested in other properties, and that gives us a little bit more leverage depending on the situation.
So it's just common etiquette to,
Yeah,
go for the one and then wait, and that makes a lot of sense.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So as I'm starting to look, and I have friends who have recently bought and going through all the hoops and everything for me so that I can see what's going on first. What is a bidding war? I have a friend who just was in a bidding war, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I watched a lot of House Hunters, House Hunters International specifically, but I'm no expert. So what does that entail?
Bidding wars. So I have no dating analogy for that. I mean, we talk offline about that. But bidding wars. So essentially, seller lists a property. There's multiple offers, right?
Mhm.
So go and see the property. They give a deadline. Multiple offers coming on the property. Seller counters back to, let's say, 5, 10, 15. I just got a deal today. There was 38 offers on a property.
Oh my goodness.
It becomes a bidding war, right? May the best bidder win, right? So it comes down to terms. It comes down to countering out certain things, price, close of escrow, contingency dates, down payment, all of those things. And essentially, as a seller, highest and best price, everybody comes back. You're essentially bidding against yourself, right?
Right.
It's a blind. It's all psychology at the end of the day. You don't know. I don't know what you're offering. You don't know what I'm offering. I don't know what Joe's offering. We don't know. The listing agent is giving you what they tell you should do, but they're just all playing. It's a game.
Playing the game, yeah.
It's a game. It's a total game. It's a mind game. So that's essentially the short answer of what a bidding war is. May the highest bidder win and the best bidder win. And it's a stressful process for everybody, especially someone that falls in love,
So I know typically you let me know if this is correct or not, but I feel like in this industry, money talks.
Yes.
Typically, is it like the hard numbers and all the technicalities versus like if a seller just genuinely likes someone and wants them to have their property? What do you find usually wins at the end of the day?
I think it depends on the client. It depends on the seller. So if it's a developer, it's a different deal. All they care about is the money. If it's someone where their mother passed away and it's been in the family, maybe they wanted to go to someone with little kids. Maybe that's a whole just depends on the seller. But I know one of the questions that someone asked you was, does cash always win? Absolutely not. It's all about terms. It's all about performance, and it's all about ability to close. And that's what you need a good agent for, is someone that's going to convey to the seller that you are the best bidder. You are the best buyer. It doesn't matter if you're getting a loan. Who cares? It's at the end of the day, the seller's getting cash. They sell the house for $1 million. They're getting cash from the bank, or they're getting cash from you. It doesn't matter. There's other terms that we can be more aggressive on. So I want everybody, including you, to know that you don't have to have just cash to close on a deal right now. That's absolutely not true.
Okay, so totally false. I was just going to ask if you can beat a cash offer, because I always hear people are like, oh, like we were, really strong in the bidding war, but then they were all cash and then it was just done. So what you're saying is that's rarely ever true?
No, it's not rarely ever true. It is true, but it's not, buyers can't be scared about if they don't have X amount of cash, they're not going to be able to get a home. There's a lot of other terms in a purchase agreement when you're a first-time buyer. There's a lot of contingencies. We, as your agent, would advise you what to waive, what to be aggressive on, what we can do. It's all about communicating, and getting the right people to talk to the people who are talking to the seller.
Okay.
At the end of the day.
And so you mentioned contingencies. What are the most common contingencies?
Contingencies are in California: inspection, appraisal, and loan. Those are the 3 contingencies where you have an earnest money deposit that essentially goes into escrow. Those contingencies are protecting your deposit. So you go in, you do all your inspections of the property. It's like dating. You find out they're crazy. All right, you're crazy. That's cool. I can deal with crazy. You're hot. Okay, you're hot. Okay. But you're like, I just found out you're actually super crazy. Like, I'm out. You know what I mean? A little crazy is okay. But inspections are, how bad is the property? What do I need to do? What do I need to fix? Appraisal is, what is the property going to appraise for? And then the loan contingency is, are you able to qualify and get that loan? Those are the three contingencies in California that are essentially protecting you and your deposit.
Oh, and what is a typical, or does it depend, like the amount of the deposit? Is it based on a percentage of the list
Yeah, so exactly. So in California, standard is 3% of the purchase price.
price? Okay.
You can always increase that if you'd like to show how the seller how serious you are. I don't know other states what they do. Actually, in New York, excuse me, is 10%, but in California, it's 3%.
Oh, okay. And this might be a funny question. Is a deposit the same thing as a down payment?
Yeah. No,
Okay, so what's the difference?
So down payment is what you're putting towards a loan. So if you're
Okay.
getting $1 million property and you're putting down 20%,
Mhm.
you're putting down $200,000. The deposit is just to show good faith. It's called a good faith deposit.
Okay.
In the contract, when you go and buy a home, you're putting down that in the escrow process.
Oh, and what happens during escrow?
Escrow. So another question, right? Okay. I like this one. So escrow, same thing, start to finish. Get into escrow, you do your inspections, you find out what is going on with the home.
Mhm.
Single family home, you're going to do different inspections than you would on a condo.
Mhm.
Go through that. Have to identify all your closing costs, what it's going to cost to buy a home, because there's a lot more than just the down payment. And then you're going to have the bank is going to order an appraisal to understand the value of the property. And then in addition to that, you're going through the loan process, application, paperwork, a lot of boring stuff. Um, final walkthrough of the property, and once again, identifying, what needs to be done ultimately is most important.
And so with that, like what determines, I know I've heard sometimes it's like a 45-day escrow, sometimes it's a 90-day escrow. What determines how long the escrow process is?
That's just an agreement on the bot with the buyer and seller. So if the buyer asks for 30, it can be with a lender, with a bank.
Yeah.
They can do as soon as 21 days. If it's cash deal, they can do 7 days. Ultimately, that just becomes an agreement it's a negotiation between the buyer and the seller.
What are you seeing as a common, especially for first-time home buyers, a common like down payment percentage that people are putting down?
So FHA is unique, if you can qualify for that, but most common right now for first-time buyers for standard loan is about 15 to 20% down.
Okay. And you mentioned that there's other costs aside from the down payment and the deposit. So what are closing costs and how much does that usually cost? Obviously,
This is the biggest misconception and the biggest mistake that most agents make is they don't educate their buyers on closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
Closing costs are huge. It comes out to escrow fees, lender fees, title fees, home insurance, property taxes, HOA dues. If you're living in an HOA, I mean, I don't want to like eyes to glaze over people's heads, but there's so many things. If you're a buyer in California, I tell people to estimate 1% of what their sales price would be. If you're a seller, it could be almost as much as 1.5% to 2% in addition to sellers pay commission. So in addition to the commission.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I feel like there's just so many additional factors that most people are not educated on going into it. Because it's like, okay, I have my down payment, I got my loan, and this is just off the cuff, but how important are credit scores?
Credit scores are important because they affect your ability and able to get a loan. So if you don't have good credit or you have a lot of debt, obviously, then your ability for the bank to want to lend you money is less. So there's credit companies out there that can help you fix your credit, but that is a big deal in your ability to get financing.
So if, let's say, your credit is not great because, let's say, like bought a car or like just got hit for, I don't know, student loans, who has those?
Right, right, everybody.
But you have the income and you can prove like via pay stubs and all that stuff. Like then is there fluctuation there?
Yes. And I always tell people, Katrina, same as talking to multiple agents, I would always advise people and all of our clients talking to multiple loan brokers. We're not all created equally at all. It's the same thing. So talk to a few different, if you're an independent contractor or you own your own business, that's different than being a W-2 employee, because that you need different lenders work with different types of clients.
And I feel like double-edged sword question, but oh my gosh, wait. Oh my gosh, mom brain. I had such a good question. I lost it. Oh, okay. So excuse the blip. So when it comes to different lenders, though, if you are shopping around, does that mean multiple credit check hits?
No. So if you do it in a certain amount of like it's a short window, then you will not get hit. If it's like it's
Uh,
in a very short window. So if you're honest with the people and you say, "Hey, I'm talking to a few people," there's nothing wrong with that. It's like going and buying a car. Are you going to go to one dealership and listen to what they say and trust them and
right.
buy the car? No, like
Mhm.
no, you're not. You need to go and talk to at least a few people to find out the different types of loans and how much payments are going to be.
That's okay. That makes a lot of sense because I always wary because like I said, I mean, I bought a car and it was just like okay, one hit, but then like all the different hits, but differing between a hard hit and a soft hit. Is it one hard hit, or does it wait until you like pick who you want to go with?
I
Yeah.
think it would, yeah, that I'm not, because every lender is different on how they go about it. So I don't want to speak out of turn
Mhm.
on that, but I know if you're going to a few people and it's not within like a longer period of time, then it won't majorly really affect. And that's something I always tell buyers, talk to the lender about that prior to them doing
Mhm.
anything to find out exactly what will happen. Because if someone ran your credit previously, then obviously that's going to affect it.
Hmm. And just to close things out here, what are if you have any last minute, like top tips for first time home buyers? Like, what should they know? What like secret sauce advice can you give? What's something that people don't tell first time home buyers that would really help them like be successful in buying their first home?
Yeah. I think the closing costs are number one. I think you really need to understand how much it's going to cost you out of pocket and to understand what the what ifs are. And
Mhm.
even when you go and buy a home, if everything is good when you buy it,
Mhm.
what are the costs going to be in the future for you when your AC goes out, when your roof has a problem, when your AC has a problem? Those are things that agents aren't educating their buyers on. And those are major costs because being a homeowner is stressful. There's always something breaking. So, understanding just because you bought a house and things are good, what's your timeline there and what's your expectation for how long you're going to be there so you know what those future costs are going to be. Because that's going to be a big awakening and also really understanding the neighborhood and the values and what has sold and understanding if you're not overpaying and really ultimately seeing what has been the trends of that neighborhood also really important and what's the growth going to be around that neighborhood too.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people don't focus on as much. They're just so focused on the one house or
Right.
not focusing on what's around there.
Yeah. I, that's really helpful because I mean, before you explained all the stuff in closing costs,
Yeah.
like I never would have guessed. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, you
Yeah.
see the listing price, got the down payment, done. It's like, no, here's 500 other things.
It's not. And there's so many. And I think that's been the biggest thing why we've gotten so many new clients is they would say to us, oh, the agent never even ran a closing statement for me. And then all of a sudden you get a statement, you're like, oh, wait, what? What are these things? And you don't even know what they are. Right.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess would be my secret answer.
Hmm. And last but not least, what makes you, or what's your biggest differentiator as an agent and your team? What would you say is the number one reason people should work with you?
We are hustlers, straight up. I'm a New Yorker. I live,
I
eat,
don't play.
I don't play, and I care. We are fast. We're on it. We're dedicated. I have a whole team, and just as far as like the knowledge and the process and the negotiation, we're beasts. We're going after it, and we're always trying to do better for our clients. We always want to save them money, and it's ultimately, I will say, it's all long-term relationship play for me. It's everybody in my world. I truthfully care. I'm genuine, and I want to do a good job. And we are fast to respond. And I'm OCD type A, so everything I'm like a super perfectionist. And that's it. I mean, but ultimately we care. We care about our clients. We're not a-holes and we're honest ultimately. So that
Ah,
was a lot. Sorry.
love that. And see, no, that's perfect. And as a fellow type A perfectionist, that's what I love to hear.
Thank you. Thank you.
Meredith, thank you so much for helping answer these common first-time homebuyer questions. You really opened my eyes and hopefully helped a lot of other future fellow homebuyers as well. So thank you again so much. And if anyone has any additional questions, Meredith is just a call, a Zoom away.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.